Hey everybody, it's X, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today we're going to be playing another quick draft of Outlaws of Thunder Junction, Magic's take on the Western genre. Pretty fun little flashback draft format here. Without further ado, let's just get into the draft. We've got a pretty decent opening pack here. The Prosperity Post is one of the cool parts of this set. It is a bonus sheet of a bunch of cards that commit crimes, so cards that target your opponent or their permanents. And here is Murder, a reasonable removal spell we could take. There's also just the rare, which is perfectly solid. 3 mana, 3/3 Vigilance at worst is just a pretty filler card, but okay. If your opponent has more lands than you, though, then this also ramps you up. You get to put a plains onto the battlefield tapped. So it's really good when you're on the draw and your opponent has played a land every turn. Then it is a very, very good deal. I think those are probably the best cards in this pack. Obviously, the Claim Jumper is a little less consistent. I think I will go ahead and go for the Murder here, but Claim Jumper would also be a very reasonable pick. Pick number 2 now, we've got a Prairie Dog here, which is an uncommon I like quite a bit. If you are not casting spells during your turn, this is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, getting more plus and plus counters on it. And it's a 2 mana 2/2 lifelinker up front, which is already pretty good. Humiliate's an okay discard spell from the Prosperity Post. There's also Cacturantula, which is a great finisher in the green decks. Just a beefy enough creature that your opponent kind of has to deal with it, and when they do, and they do target it, you draw a card. So you win that exchange, you're up a card there. So there's a lot of great stuff in this pack. Prairie Dog, Cacturantula, Humiliate I think is fine. Take up the Shield is fine. I'm going to go for the Prairie Dog, though. I am a pretty big fan of that card. Pick number 3, we got a Tyrant Scorn here for the blue-black deck. That's a really efficient removal spell. There's also Scorching Shot, which is really efficient as well. Double red, though, so we have to be deep into red for that card. Reckless Lackey's an okay card for the red aggro decks. Not a crazy amount of other stuff here. Lively Dirge can be really good. I think one of the best ways to use this card is if you have a good bomb rare creature with mana value 4 or less, just using this as a tutor to put it directly into play is pretty great. But I don't know if we take it that early over these removal spells. These removal spells feel like the best options here. I'm just going to grab a Scorching Shot here, stick in a bunch of different colors here, and just see what ends up being open. Pick 4, it's looking like black is a really good spot to be. We see Unfortunate Accident and Vault Plunderer. Both of these are excellent 2-for-1 spells. 2-for-1 meaning a spell that does like 2 different things at once. We get a 3/1 and we draw a card, or we destroy one of their creatures and we get a creature of our own. So they put us up in the card economy. They put us up in cards. I'll go for the Unfortunate Accident over Vault Plunderer, but I do like Vault Plunderer a lot as well. Pick 5 now. Take up the Shield if we're going black-white. I don't like any of these black creatures that much. Raven of Elements might be okay when we started with 2 other removal spells out of black already, so we are going to be committing some crimes. Rictus Robber as well, you can try to set it up so that you plot it, and then on turn 4 you play like a removal spell and then cast it for free, get a 2/2 out of it. That could be okay as well. I don't think Rambling Possum is good enough to push us towards green, but it is fine when you are the green-white mounts deck. I guess we could speculate on some fixing with the Creosote Heath, but I'm not that interested. I guess I'll take this Rictus Robber thing. We are quite deep into black here, so we can just keep taking black spells. And now the Desperate Bloodseeker is a really nice one. This is super, super good in the set because there's some decks that care about filling your own graveyard where you choose to mill yourself with this, and there's decks that care about committing crimes, which means targeting your opponent. So when you do care about committing crimes, you can target your opponent with this, and when you care about filling your graveyard, you can fill your graveyard with this. I like Desperate Bloodseeker a lot. I think it's much more consistent than even like Rattleback Apothecary, which is a perfectly reasonable uncommon. I just think the Bloodseeker is at a better mana value and a little bit more flexible. I like that card quite a bit. Pick number 7 now. The Ambush Gigapede is nice in the Reanimator black decks. It has just a big creature with a good enter the battlefield effect to bring back. There's also the Mind Rot effect, the discard spell, Heartless Pillage, and the Metamorphic Blast. Flexible blue spell. I think I'm just on Gigapede here. I don't think any of the off-color cards are good enough to really justify heading in a different direction. Now we have another Desperate Bloodseeker. Big fan of the card. Also Forlorn Flats if we want to speculate on that fixing. If we do end up going for a black-white deck, we can play the Prairie Dog with that, and that'll help out. But I am more than happy to just get deeper into black and see what happens in these upcoming packs. Not a huge fan of the Rakish Crew. It's 3 mana for a 1/1, and then whenever one of your Outlaws dies, you make your opponent lose a life and gain 1 life. Outlaws is one of the most confusing mechanics in the set. I mean, it's not really confusing. It's just a lot to remember that outlaws are specifically assassins, mercenaries, pirates, rogues, and warlocks. So that's a lot of creature types to keep in mind. If you want the acronym for it, WARMP is a good way to remember it. WARM and P, warlocks, assassins, rogues, mercenaries, and pirates. That's just I don't know, a memorable phrase, I think. Fake your own death, I guess, could be okay in this deck. It's probably pretty good with the Blood Seekers. I'll actually take that over the speculating on the backwoods there. Pick 10 Cactarantula. Maybe we go with the green-black reanimator route, because I think that's a great finisher. There's a Lively Dirge if we find a really good card to reanimate with it. This town ain't big enough as a fine bounce spell. Overzealous Muscle's probably getting cuts. But let's see. Pack 2, pick 1. We've got Hell to Pay, an X mana, X damage removal spell out of red. Not the most efficient removal ever. It's not the most exciting rare. It is certainly not a bomb. But it's fine if you already know that you're red. I just don't think it's a reason to get deeper towards that color or to move in on it. I'll go ahead and take the Vault Plunderer here. I think just an excellent black creature when we're definitely playing black. But we've got some great white removal spells as well. Journey to Nowhere and Mystical Tether. The enchantment-based removal spells are always quite good. But Vault Plunderer it is. Pack 2, pick 2. There's a Shoot the Sheriff. Destroy a non-outlaw for 1 and a black. There are quite a few outlaws in the set, so Shoot the Sheriff is a little bit awkward. But it is still only 2 mana. It is still instant speed. I think it's still a great card, and we can take it here. We can also take the Aloe Alchemist to get another card deeper into green with this Cactarantula. We are literally 1 card deep into every non-black color, so we could still go any other direction here. I'm just going to grab the Shoot the Sheriff at that rate. Pick number 3 now. I do like the Hard Bristle Bandit a lot. Phantom Interference is reasonable for the blue-black control index. I do like having like the double Blood Seeker for maybe a mill deck, the Gigapede as well. I kind of like our pivot to green-black potentially the most. I don't think we're going to have enough mill for Rise of the Varmints, though. You need a really absurd amount for that card. All right, yeah, I'll try moving towards green maybe. Take the Hard Bristle Bandit there. There's a Spinewoods Armadillo, which is really, really good for the Reanimator decks. I'm in a 6 mana 7/7 reach with Ward 3. It's already a really good stat line up front. And if you're mana screwed and you don't have enough lands, you can always discard it to grab whatever land you need out of your deck, put it into your hand, and gain some life. So the Armadillo is really good up front, and then if you're a Reanimator deck, it's even better because you can discard it and then you reanimate it for cheap. Big fan of the Armadillo. I'll take that over the Blood Hustler here, which would be a really reasonable pick too, just because we're so deep into black. Pick 5 now. We can take this green-white dual land. We could also take this white removal spell. I mean, I'm only 3 cards deep into green. So it is possible we play black-white instead. Sure, I'll take the Mystical Tether. Here's another Mystical Tether, pick 6. Jeez Louise. Okay, and I'm not a big fan of the black spells. Sure. Pick 7. Buried in the Garden for the green-white spell. Awkward we're having to choose between green or white. Because those are what we're getting past. There's the Patient Naturalist for the self-mill deck too. Mills 3 when it enters, picks up a land when it does, and even if it misses, it makes sure you get a treasure. Take the Patient Naturalist. There's a green-black dual land. There's also the 5/4 beat stick, the Spinewoods Paladin, which is pretty great too. Yeah, we don't have a ton going on upper on the curve, but I think we want the dual land. Giant Beaver is a great one. 4 mana, 4/4 Vigilance. That is just beef. It can keep buffing your board, putting a +1/+1 counter on somebody each turn. Don't care about these. Bristlepack Sentry is the most likely. Don't care about these. Rise of the Varmints is the most likely. And I think we're committed now to just green-black nonsense. We just never really got a big reason to play any other color until this pack. This is actually a little bit awkward because now we have to choose. I think we've taken so many green cards, we just take the green rare. Final Showdown is a little stronger. It is kind of just like, oops, I win. You make one of your creatures indestructible and then blow up every other creature on the board. So it's a one-sided board wipe at instant speed. This card is absolutely ridiculous. But Outcast or Trailblazer is honestly not that far behind. It is a 3-mana 4/2 that gives you a mana back when it enters. You can plot it, which is where that mana back comes in really helpful. And then anytime you play any other creature with power 4 or greater, you draw another card. So it is a really good stat line for the cost. That's also a huge card draw engine with cards like Giant Beaver, Rictus Robber, Gigapede, Muscle, Cactarantula, Spinewoods Armadillo. Trailblazer's really, really nice for any deck with a good amount of beefy green creatures. But Final Showdown is Oops, I Win, but if we go for Oops, I Win, we have to cut what? Sentry, Bandit, Commando, Naturalist, Beaver, Rise, Cactarantula, Armadillo. I mean, the only card I'm really sad I have to cut by taking Final Showdown is the Spinewoods Armadillo, and then I guess technically the Trailblazer, because I would have that if I didn't take the Final Showdown. And if I go black-white, I've got just a lot of removal and a board wipe. That feels like a super rude deck. Now let's get weird with it. Let's grab the Final Showdown and go for like a black-white board wipe control deck. I've decided to be rude. Blood Hustler looks pretty good for this deck if I'm not playing green. We do need to find 8 playables in this one pack now. But we've got a lot of targeted removal spells to keep buffing this up and up and up and up, committing crimes over and over and over. Okay, Consuming Ashes is another great removal spell that commits a crime. Getaway Glamour is reasonable too, but the Consuming Ashes can exile anybody, not specifically just the biggest creature. Pick number 4. Shepherd of the Clouds is a pretty great card. Yeah, 5 mana 4/3 Flying Vigilance, pick up another permanent from your grave and put it back to your hand. If you control a mount, it's really absurd. You put the card right back on the board, but you don't really need to for it to still be a good deal. Pick number 5. There's Cactarantulas everywhere in the draft pod. I've played Armored Armadillo before. It is incredibly filler, but sometimes you need to fill your deck with something. It's in the name. Stagecoach Security or Boneyard Desecrator. I like Security better, but I don't love either of them. I like Sterling Supplier. That's reasonable. There's so many Cactarantulas. No! We got one of the Reanimator spells. These are so good in the green-black deck. Like, I think the difference between a green-black deck that has no copies of, like, Back for More or the 5-mana Reanimation spell and a green-black deck that has a copy is, like, massive, because these are just such a blowout if you can get them at the right time. Which was another reason that I was kind of okay pushing off of green-black. We had all the good self-mill stuff, but we didn't have any cards like Back for More to actually reanimate something. And here it was, the literal last possible second. Pack 3, pick 8. This is the final pack of new cards. Now we're just on to the cards that are going to wheel. So that's awkward for us. Tragic. Alright, we got a 23 card deck. We're good. Get a bunch of cactuses in here now in the sideboard. I'm not going to play Sterling Hound. Okay, not the perfect draft, but we've got a pretty explosive deck here. We have a ton of removal to slow our opponent down a lot. We have a massive blowout, which is the big board wipe, and then with those being our most powerful spells, with our non-creature cards being as strong as they are, it's kind of okay that our creatures are mostly filler, because we've just put so much power in the non-creature stack. Yeah, I mean, we'll call it a deck here, hop into the gameplay, and see how far this one can take us. Alright, here we are on the play for game number 1. A slower hand, but the Vault Plunderer with multiple ways to pick it up is actually really strong. If we can fake your own death on it, draw another card, that's awesome, and then we can also Shepherd of the Clouds it back to our hand later. Recast it and draw another card. The 1 toughness on Vault Plunder may seem like a liability, but it just helps you put it in the graveyard and reanimate it more often. It's actually great. Draw me a card. Playing against green-white, which is the best aggressive strategy in the set. Double Erranks is a terrifying start, because they just keep getting first strike every time they attack, so it's really impossible to block. They also get to keep scrying as they attack. Scry to the top, take my damage, go to 16. Find an unfortunate accident. Plot a Stagecoach Security, that's big enough to block the cats. Miriam. Well, this game looks pretty over. This is the strongest archetype in the format with the strongest signpost uncommon in the format. It's kind of the dream hand. They load up counters onto them and give them all hexproof. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty abysmal. We're already down to 8 because they hit us for 8 damage off that swing. We can unfortunate accident this Miriam now. But there's actually like 2 different cards in green-white that can protect her, regardless, which is pretty ridiculous. Oh, well, that was not a good play. We might be slightly okay thanks to that. Usually you want to like declare the block and then do the thing to play around the removal, so at least you still stop the damage at least. I guess it's reasonable. They could have been playing around steer clear actually. Like if they knew we had a steer clear in hand, that is a pretty good play. Oh my god. It does not matter. This is the magical Christmas land over there. They even have the Shepherd of the Clouds with the mount on the board to reanimate Miriam immediately at no cost. And now because Miriam's back, these have 5 power, which first strikes away the security. That is absurd. Good grief. Alright, I mean, we still kill one of them. But now we're down to 3. I don't think there's any recovery from this. This is the green-white mounts deck. Very, very strong archetype. 3 life. Do I have a mount? No, I don't. So I can't deal 4 with steer clear. Taking 4 in the sky unless I play the Shepherd. If I play the Shepherd, I go block there, take 3, die. So I have no way to live. All right. That'll do it. That'll be 0-1 heading into game number 2. All right, here we are on the play for game number 2. This is a great hand here. Do need to draw lands at some point, but it is solid for now. Blue, black, green. Honest Rutstein was the mill. There's Blood Hustler. We do draw a land. Just play a Vault Plunderer here. I'm not gonna mystical tether a Blood Hustler away. Ooh, another white source before the second black is not ideal, but it's only 1 card in our hand that's not castable. Desert's due on the Vault Plunderers, perfectly fine. Alright, there's the second black source for us. We'll plot our Stagecoach and pass turn. Shoot the Sheriff on the Bloodseeker, buff the Blood Hustler. Opponent kept a low mana hand. They did skip playing a land last turn. We can go Blood Hustler plus Tether. That's committing a crime. Plus Security to be able to swing that in next turn, but we're not getting any value off the Enter effect. That's okay. Better to not have Summoning Sickness on our 4/5. Nimble Brigand 1/3. Cool. Attack all, they can't block. Murder the Brigand, so they don't draw any cards. Well, that's a free kill for us. By activating the ability, we don't even have to spend a card to kill it. And there's the concession from our opponent. That is 1-1 heading into game number 3. Here we are on the play for game number 3. Kind of just steer clear their first little aggressive threat and then sit here for a very long time and hope that the final showdown blows them up. Playing against a Rakdos, that is an aggressive strategy. Should be a good spot for the final showdown. Steer clear the Vial Smasher. And there's a Buzzard as a 3/2. Plot the Coach. It's really unfortunate to not have any permanents in grave when you play the Shepherd. So I'm not a fan of that. Rattleback, Apothecary, and a Jagged Barrens. 7 mana total to do the indestructible thing too, but for 6 mana we could just blow everybody up. Play the Prairie Dog and the Security. Prairie Dog will be our small creature to pick up with Shepherd of the Clouds. Cunning Coyote. Well, I can eat the coyote. Take the rest. Down to 9. And they make a 1/1. Plot the Rictus Robber to play next turn after a final showdown. And then I haven't cast anything this turn, so our Lifelinker gets a counter on it too. Hit us for 4 in the sky, we're down to 5. Play the Quilled Charger. We missed our land to give somebody indestructible. Oh, and I need a 3rd white source. Oh, that's really, really, really bad. Okay, then. So I have to fake your own death on somebody. I don't think anybody's gonna end up dying here. Oh. Okay, that's perfect. I'm really surprised they took a trade there, because I figured with the Rictus Robber out they would not want to. I probably should not have played the Rictus Robber, by the way. Because I just have a really wide board for this board wipe that I just got the treasure token for. I guess, like, Shepherd of the Clouds to block the flyer means that we actually don't have to board wipe here if we just run out all our creatures. They're at 23. Yeah, we hit so hard. We hit so hard, and we have the Lifelinkers here. I think we outrace them. And we just don't board wipe. Yeah, they're down to 13. We're back up to 8. We have a new Lifelinker. Can even pick up the other one. And I have the flyer to trade into their flyer. Yep, scoop them up. We didn't even need the board wipe. I don't think I was playing that right if I wanted to play the board wipe, but we had the cards to get ahead and win without the board wipe, so maybe that was actually the right way to play it. I should have just been playing aggressive the whole time. Kind of scary though, but we are 2-1 now, heading into game 4. Alright, here we are on the draw for game 4. Playing against red-green. Oh. Thank God Bristly Bill is not an outlaw. Because that is a terrifying card. They get a +1/+1 counter every time they play a land, and they can double the +1/+1 counters on all of their creatures later. Dance of the Tumbleweeds are ramping up here. Junding us out, black, red, and green. And there's a desert to ping me in the face. Ow. I think I want to Bloodseeker target myself here. Because they're in black and green, they could have good ways to use their graveyard against me. And we do have a Lively Dirge to reanimate somebody from our grave. Dang. Alright, Rough Mist land drop. We've got a Murder for their first threat still. And if we hit one more land, then we have 2 more removal spells, so we have time to hit our mana. We're relatively well defended as long as we draw 1 more land next turn. Perfect. Ambush Gigapede. That's going to give them a free kill on the Bloodseeker. And another threat. Awkward. Excuse me. I don't think that I need to throw a removal spell at Gigapede. I'm going to take a big hit here. But Gigapede is 2 toughness, so literally any creature in this deck will trade into it. So if I can, I'd like to save the removal for higher toughness creatures. Are they going to give it 4 extra power and double strike here? That would be funny. Nope, give it 2 extra power. If it's got 4 toughness, I don't mind throwing a removal spell at it at this point. Perfect, and now I have the removal spell that gives me a 1/1. They do have the mana up. They could have like a Snakeskin Veil or something here. Yeah, and they do have an instant. They could have a Snakeskin Veil or a Fake Your Own Death. Those would both be really bad for me. I don't really have a way to play around them. I guess I just could play another creature here. But then they can still use those like during combat and it won't be fun for me. I guess Consuming Ashes plays around Fake Your Own Death at least. Doesn't play around Snakeskin Veil though. And those are both 1 or 2 mana, so they could have them up already. So I think I'm okay to let them untap. Because anything that could really blow me out, I think, would cost 2 or less mana anyway. Those 2 common cards at least. So now I can like declare the block, so if they don't have one of those, I can just trade. If they do have one of those and they try to cast it first, then I can blow them out. And then also I could like block and cast my own removal spells. That way, even if they save it, I still soak up all the damage. But it looks like I just get a trade. I can't speak English right now. My apologies for all the mispronunciations. Map the Frontier. Just get some lands. Cool. Ping me in the face. And then that one just picks up another land and surveils. Cool. Oh, they picked up a forest, though. They're not going to surveil. Ferocification. I am not a big fan of this card. But it does give haste to any creature they play, which is scary and makes it hard to pass without holding something up. So I'm going to Prairie Dog so that I can hold the Murder up. If I cast Overzealous Muscle, this gives Menace and haste. So we won't be able to block anything if I just cast the Muscle and then they play like a 7/7 or something. It's just going to dome me. Oh, Ward. A creature with Ward. Can't block that. Oh, Lord. Okay, well, I can block that one. Other creatures control with power 4 or greater gain trample and haste till end of turn, so they're both hasting me. Aye. I mean, I can murder the Cactarantula pre-combat, but then the Sure Shot's getting the menace and haste anyway, so either way, I'm just getting hit by Sure Shot and killing Cactarantula. Rough. Rough stuff. I really do need to hit a land now so that I can kill Sure Shot through its ward as well. Down to 7. We did hit a land. Problem here is that if they play any other creature, I'm in a bad spot. Wait till I get my +1/+1 counter, and then I'll Consuming Ashes while they're tapped out. Cool. Jolene. Slap me for 4. Create a treasure and can shoot me for another damage with that treasure. Bring back Bloodseeker. That's the only thing I can bring back with the Dirge right now. Could mill another Bloodseeker out of my deck to reanimate. Oh, we're dead. Yeah, I mean, that's just double combat bomb. Yeah. Alright. That will do it. Just a lot of haste, some cheesy combat nonsense. Excuse me, and that'll be 2 and 2, heading into game number 5. Alright, here we are on the draw for game number 5. This is a very slow hand here, but it's got that final showdown to try to end things. If they play a good aggressive outlaw, we're going to have a really rough time, because our only removal destroys non-outlaws. Got a creature to play turn 4 now with the Rictus Robber plotted out on turn 3. Ramping up with Dance of the Tumbleweeds. That gives me the time to plot Rictus Robber without having to worry about taking damage, so fine by me. Very multicolored deck over there. It's actually the full 5 color. There's a lot of incredibly good rares and mythics and even a lot of premium uncommons, so there can be some pretty splashy multicolor decks. Oh, it's a rogue? Why is this random Sphinx and Outlaw? That's kind of brutal. That's kind of brutal. So I can't really do anything here then. Play a Rictus Robber with no creatures, but then I have a 3 toughness card against a Vigilant 5 toughness card. Like a 4-3 versus a 3-5 lines up so poorly, and it has Vigilance that this is never attacking in through that anyway. Just not a huge reason to put the Robber on the board. Prairie Dog. If I wait to blow that up till my turn, then I can get a zombie out of the Robber too, I guess. But then if I draw anything else I want to play, I guess I could play Lively Dirge here. Do I have a 4-mana creature in this deck? No, but I could play like Lively Dirge and grab a Vault Plunderer to play. Shoot the Sheriff, untap, Dirge a Plunderer. I don't think that's insane. It's probably better to just play the Muscle than a Vault Plunderer. Currently just kind of trying to survive till 6 mana, which is 1 more turn. Okay, cool. This is fine. If they, like, the luckiest case scenario for us is they go land, creature, creature. If they do that, we're so happy. Then we just go land, blow up all the creatures, play a Rictus Robber. They play land, they play a creature, play a second creature, do it. They're not playing a second creature. Well, we still do our thing. They don't have the black mana up to draw a card here. All right, cool. Board wipe doing board wipe things, it looks like. We don't have anything to pick up with Shepherd of the Clouds yet. So let's dirge the Vault Plunderer. Okay. Blow up the 3/1 is fine. Here's Armadillo. Go to 9. Excuse me. Now I can Shepherd of the Clouds back the Vault Plunderer, which is wonderful. Get that back to hand. Blood Hustler's kind of scary because it drains me for a life and I'm pretty low, but we got more than enough power to win this game here. Tether away the blocker. There's the concession from our opponent. That is 3-2. A little bit of a rocky start, but at least a 50-50 record now as we head into game number 6. Here we are now for game number 6. Very mid-hand, but as long as our opponent doesn't have like a great curve, could be a reasonable back and forth. Looks like we're doing fine. I mean, this hand's actually okay against a decent curve. We killed our first threat. We trade the next one into the Vault Plunderer. The opponent kept a 2-lander. A little bit of risk there. That's scary, though, because your opponent's not going to keep a 2-lander unless the spells in it are very strong. So if they start hitting lands, we could have a big issue. But now we're the one curving. We go 3, 4, 5 mana creature. And we're going to have a massive board here. This should be really hard for them to recover from. Just beef. Journey into nowhere to kill one of them. Kill the 5/4, takes 7 damage on this board. They go to 6 life, and let's see how they recover from that. Even if they have a board wipe, the Ambush Gigapede is enough power to kill them, then we can flash it in their end step. Buried in the Garden to kill one more creature, but then they're tapped out. And the Gigapede is lethal. And there's a concession from our opponent. That is 4-2, a positive record out of this draft, no matter where things go from here. Just some rough luck for our opponent there with those missed land drops, and we drew enough creatures to really capitalize on that and punish them. Simple game there, 4-2, heading into game number 7. All right, here we are now on the play for game number 7. We have no black sources in this hand, but multiple black spells, and those are what we want to play early, so it's really, really bad if we don't draw a swamp. I kind of still want to keep it. We've got a tether on their first threat. It is a gamble. We need to draw a swamp here, but we've got time to do so, I think. This lets me keep all the cards I can, all the card advantage I can, without having to go down on cards. He takes the gamble. We draw a double black spell. That is the worst draw we could draw. There's Blood Hustler of their own. Oh my god, and then a 4th Plains. That is also pretty bad, but better than a double black spell, because we do have the Sterling Supplier. Stagecoach Security is not a bad draw, because now we actually get to do something this turn. If we hit a swamp next turn, then this hand still played out perfectly. You know, as awkward as Unfortunate Accident into Plains looked as draws, still not over yet. Could have all panned out fine. And it did. We're chilling. Okay. Lazov's pretty scary, and I don't have a way to kill him now until I hit another black source. I think I just run my creatures out here because I can't really interact anyway. Just be mana efficient, get some beef. Lazav keeps copying creatures from graveyards and getting extra +1/+1 counters every time they commit a crime, so Lazav just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So definitely Lazav's going to have an unfortunate accident as long as I have the swamps to do that. Or whenever I have the swamps to do that. I kind of hate that they cast a single crime and then Lazav is big enough to block the security without dying anyway. So I think I'm just sending in the flyer. Because I highly doubt they're having all that mana open and not casting a crime. Yeah, they're committing a crime. So they would have stopped all the security damage and then I just have no blockers up anyway. Excuse me. Down to 16 from just all the deserts. That is not another black source. What about you, Vault Plunder? What do you have to say about that? You want to give me a swamp? Nope. No, you do not. Well, at least they can't really attack. But again, hitting that double black removal is really awkward here, because if it was castable removal, we'd be getting so much damage in right now, but this one creature that I can't clear out, soaking up a lot of damage for our opponent. Make your own luck. That's a really nice draw spell. They draw 3, and they plot a spell from their hand, which means that they get to cast it for free next turn. Honest Rutstein. That's a really, really good one. They have no creatures in their grave yet, but if I kill Lazav, now the Rutstein can bring it back. Okay, I mean, Rutstein just brings it back to the hand, and I do still get a bunch of damage in right now. This is worth it. Yeah, see how insane just that one removal spell was? Deal like 14 damage or something the turn I get to cast that. Imagine that weren't a double black removal. Imagine it were the second tether. Rutstein back Lazav. It's just going to be them playing a bajillion blockers, making it hard to kill them. I think they're low enough we want to just attack with everybody and let a couple creatures die to push for damage. Then Blood Hustler can try to finish them off. Ew, the bounce spell on the token is very strong. If they commit a crime during our turn, this is now 6 toughness. They go 3-2 there, they go there. If it's a crime that kills this, they go block, block, take 1. Hey. What if I Gigapede the Rutstein away and then they have 1 blocker up? Then they kill this, block there, take 4. I'm feeling like Gigapede Rutstein is the play. It really depends what their crime is, though. What if I just attack with everybody and then I crime based on how they block? Or I Gigapede based on how they block? If they choose to use the interaction before they declare blocks, that's really good for me, because then I know exactly what to do. Okay, so Lazav... Hold up. Let's see what Lazav does first. Okay, so if I Gigapede Lazav now, Lazav is a 1/5, gets +1/+1 from Clear Shot. Lazav is a 2-power creature, which doesn't kill Robber. And Lazav only has 4 toughness. Lazav could still kill Vault Plunderer, but then the removal spell doesn't work. I could kill Rutstein instead, then Lazav kills this. Lazav is then 4 power, 7 toughness, blocks security, they take 4. I think I Gigapede Lazav. I think Gigapeding Lazav is better than killing Rutstein through the Clear Shot. I think. I guess it's kind of the same difference, actually. Yeah, I think this ends with basically the same board state and the same amount of damage either way. So never mind. Excuse me. Buried in the garden now. To exile our beefiest creature. We only have to do a single point of damage to them to finish them off now, though. And Blood Hustler can do that. Okay, they're conceding. They don't have any more interaction. They're going to block the 6-2, take 4, and die. But even if they had, like, one more removal spell there, kill Gigapede, block the 3-1, take 1 damage, then we play and activate Hustler. Alright, good stuff that game. They got a really big Lazov. We had some awkward mana to start it off, but we still had enough beef to get through. We are now 4-2. 5-2. Heading into game 8. I never know my own strength. I'm always behind on my record. We are 5-2 heading to game 8. Alright, here we are on the play for game 8. We got to steer clear early, and we need to draw a lot of lands for this hand. This is actually a little bit of a risky 2-lander for sure. Maybe should have mulliganed this. You know me, I don't like to mulligan. Look, we drew a 3rd land. We'll be fine. I just need one more land to play this creature. Playing against green, white, and blue. Another very multicolored deck. There's the Outlaw Medic. That is not a great target for any removal, because they draw a card when it dies anyway. Alright, we're big chilling. We've drawn exclusively lands so far, which is exactly what this hand needed. So we're doing fine. Go to 17. Here's another land. Sterling Keykeeper. Plot the Stagecoach Security. Festering Gulch me down to 16. Take a few points of damage. Okay, we missed the Overzealous Muscle mana, but that's okay. We play a 4-5 and a Plunderer, I think. I'd like to hold up Fake Your Own Death if I top deck a land off of Vault Plunderer. We did not top deck a land off of Vault Plunderer. Removal spell on Stagecoach Security, fair enough. Still got a Plunderer to trade off into the Keykeeper if they send everybody in. Just take 1 point of damage here. We're chilling. Red Rock Sentinel. So when they're flooded out, that's pretty good. The trade with Medic is pretty bad. Gigapede. Gigapede's a cool card, but don't have the mana for it. Can murder the Keykeeper. But I don't need to because I'm already holding up a blocker. I think I'm just passing, genuinely. Down to 10. And they're going to pass through their turn. If they're going to just pass through the whole turn, I'll go ahead and go for the murder. Could murder the Sentinel too. It's a card draw engine. Maybe. Maybe we unfortunate accident that here. Still have an ambush Gigapede. And a steer clear. Apologies for all the coughing today. Definitely can only record one video today. Jeez. Still been getting over a cough since I came back from my trip. I got really sick near the end of it. And now the cough's just been on and off. It's been bad. Probably use the Gigapede to kill the Outlaw medic finally, so that I can kill it without actually having to spend a whole card. Just use an enter effect. Ooh, back for more. That's pretty gross. Now I can Lively Dirge back the Plunderer, though. Okay. There's my Gigapede mana. Yeah, the Sentinel's awkward, but I gotta stop taking this medic damage, so I guess I'm on Gigapede here. Excuse me. I think there's enough combat tricks that are specifically +1/+1, like Snakeskin Veil and Take Up the Shield, that I should block with Gigapede instead of the 1 toughness card. Well, I guess it had -1 power anyway. Yeah, I probably still should have blocked with the 1/1. Okay, Bounding Felidar is terrifying. Play the big boy and hold up a Fake Your Own Death. Start jamming 7. Let's see if Muscle plus Fake Your Own Death does something here. That's so rude. So rude, and I can't afford to Fake Your Own Death. Because then I don't have a way to kill the Felidar. Getting pinged by so many deserts. Ew, Shepherd of the Clouds, value. And they have a mount on board too, so whatever they reanimate is going straight to the board instead of their hand. Sterling Keykeeper. Yeah, and they got a big flyer now too. This is really bad. And the Felidar is going to put a +1/+1 counter on all 4 of these creatures now. Yikes. They are popping off. Yep, that's abysmal. Probably got us off that. But we'll see. Blood Hustler's the draw. Bring back a Vault Plunderer. And an Armadillo, I guess. Make it 4 mana value of creatures. Find a Stagecoach security. That's interesting. I still have the Steer Clear off the treasure. But this flyer is just going to get me killed. I don't have a way to kill that. I don't have any mounts in this deck to actually deal 4 damage. Just gonna have to like Steer Clear an Ankle Biter here. Yeah. Technically I could give the Muscle indestructible with any crime I commit, but I don't have the mana to commit any other crime. Okay, I go to 2 life. Pray for a way to not die to the Shepherd. I don't have enough life to gain enough off of the Blood Hustler, or enough mana to gain enough life off of the Blood Hustler. Come on, something. That is not removal. That is not going to do it. Yeah, we are dead. We had a couple outs to maybe win this game. I mean, obviously, we've got a lot of removal spells in this deck. If we hit any of those, we could be in a winning position here by just killing that single flyer, but did not hit the outs on that one. Fair enough. Still a great run. 5 winner here with a pretty average deck. We have a couple really good rares, but for the most part, a lot of very, very filler stuff. So I think I'll absolutely take a 5 winner. But I don't know. I think the deck could have potentially done better, could have done worse. And we know based on how we lost that game that we had a ton of cards to draw that would have won. Tether, Murder, Ashes, Shoot. Whichever removal spell we hadn't drawn yet, and then obviously Final Showdown. But yeah, I think this deck is fine. The Final Showdown is a big blowout, super, super powerful card. Other than that, just a collection of solid commons and uncommons. Mostly a bunch of great removal to try to make sure the board state is always favored to us or flip it around in the end game. Didn't mind this deck at all, but some of the stuff that could be keeping it from the 7-win run is having a collection of pretty mediocre creatures like Overzealous Muscle, Armored Armadillo, even the Stagecoach Securities and like the Rictus Robber. Like there's a lot of like pretty filler creatures in here that if those card quality went, if the quality of these creatures was higher, we could be in potentially a like 7-win kind of territory here instead of the decent average 5-3 territory that we're at. I mean, that is a high win rate. That's a few more wins than losses, but it's kind of average for me. I like to try to get those 7 wins every time I can, and unfortunately this deck did not quite get there. Still a decent run for today. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. And other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.